Yesterday we have learned about GlideAjax. Okay. So we will see what are the things like more things we can do with GlideAjax, and then we can see what is synchronous and what is asynchronous. So if you see here, I'm using GlideAjax and passing the script include name, function name, and assign to sysID. And once I get the result, I'm passing it and just alert. Okay. So here I wanted only one result. Like only I wanted location, but in case if you want more than one details, so how we can do that? We'll see that now. Okay. So from here we are only passing one data, like which is location. But if you want more than one data, so the simple way I'll tell you first. Then there is other way also. You can look at that later. Okay. So first I'll be creating an object. For example, it might be user object. Okay. So in this object, I'll be passing those values like location, email, like that. Okay. So here object dot location is this particular value. And apart from the location, I even want other details to be passed like user object dot email. So we can pass multiple other details as well, like the same way, like if you want department. Okay, so here, whenever we are returning this particular object, we have to stringify it. Okay, so what I did, so earlier I was only sending the location, but whenever you want to send more than one data, so I have created an object, and in that particular user object, I have created few properties like location, email, and department, and which holds some values. Okay, so for all those, I have to change like convert it to string. So now it is an object. I want to convert it to string or a JSON string. So how I can convert is like, for example, so we can use JSON dot stringify. So this is the function. So if we pass the user object to this, then what happens? It will be converting this particular object to string. Okay. And then this particular payload, we can send it. Okay. So let's see whether we are able to get all these details or not first. Okay. Yes, so this particular client script will run on change of assign to. So I'll try to change this particular assign to something else. Okay. So here I'm getting the details like location is empty, email I am getting, and department I am getting. Maybe location is not there for this particular user. That's why it is empty. Okay. If you change to some other user, then I'm getting the location as well. Location is Basilia, email is something, and department is product management. So we got the details at the client side. We have to set those values somewhere. Further, want to ask something? Okay. So we got the values. So if I keep alert, I'm able to see that we can see it, right? So I'll show you. Okay. It didn't change. Let me. So if I change it, I'm able to see these location, email, and department. So if you see here, this is all stringify. Okay. I'll just show you what we need to do. So what is the difference between normal object and stringified object? I'll show you. Okay. So for example, so if I try to print it using gs.info, I'll be getting it as object object. Okay. So why am I able to I'm getting object object because we can't directly print it. So if you want to print it, you have to convert it to JSON.stringify. Similarly, whenever you want to pass it from server side to client side, you have to do this JSON.stringify. Okay. So now you can read it. Why we are able to read that object in the client side is we have stringified it. Okay. So we have converted into JSON string. That's why we are able to read it. So, so this is a payload, JSON payload. Okay. So this payload will be holding the stringified object, which we can read and which we can print it out and we can see what it is. Okay. But if you want to, for example, now if I want to get something out of the payload, like for example, I want to get name out of this particular payload. So as it's a string, I won't be able to get name. Why? Because it's a string. It's not an object. I can't put dot org. So if I want to convert back this particular JSON string to object, what we can do? So what we can do? We can use JSON dot parse. Okay. So if you use JSON dot parse, any stringified object will be converting it to an object. Okay, JSON dot parse of payload. Now, if I want to print the name of that particular user object, then I have to do the parse so that it will be converting it to object and I can get any values like name and other things. Is it clear till now? So whenever you want to convert any object to string or JSON string, then you have to use JSON.stringify. Any stringified object or any JSON object into a normal object, then we have to use JSON.parse. Okay. So here we got stringified object. Okay. So now we want to get some values like email and all from those. So what we can do is I can store those values like email. First, I need to convert it to object. So what is this particular user object? So in the answer, we have stringified version of the values. So now I want to convert it to JSON.parse of answer. We will have the values. Okay. Where email equals to user object dot email. Okay, so like that, we can even get the location as well. So we should use the same name from that particular object, whichever we have used it here. Like here, if we use location, there also we should use the same name. Then only we will be able to get the values. Okay. So we have got the values now. So if you want to set somewhere like instead of short description or something like that, then you can set. Okay. G underscore form dot. For example, I want show field message. So show field message means it will be showing a message under the field. Okay. So here it accepts field name as an input, then the message, then what type. Okay. So the field name is assigned to. And the message which I want to construct is where message equals to okay. So I want to email is email plus and then I want email is email and department is department plus location is okay. So I have constructed that message and I'm giving that particular message here. Okay. And now after that, whether you want a info message or error message, it is asking us. So now let's see. if it works or not. Okay. So for example, let me reload it. So if I change it, I'm getting the values like email is this, department is development. I'm getting location is, but there is no location. So what I can do, I can check if the location is present, then only I want to append location. Like that, we can check it here and then only we can add it. So we can do that. If you want, we can do even now. So what? So for example, if location is present, then only I want to show there is a location. Okay. Otherwise, I don't want to show. So in this case, what I'll do? So I know that email will be there for sure. So first I'll be taking this. If till this, I'll be taking, okay, messages, email is the email which I got. And if department is not empty, that means if department is not equals to empty. Otherwise, the same thing, how we can read? Like if there is a department, means if there is something in the department, it will be true. Then I want to append that particular message to MSG plus equals to is MSG equals to MSG plus. So whatever the message is there, I want to append that message to this department. Okay. And I want one more if where if there is location. If the location is there, I want to append this last part where the location is location. So MSG plus equals to is, which is similar to MSG equals to MSG plus the code which you want to append here. Okay. So here I have written MSG plus equals to, and here MSG equals to MSG plus, both are same. So even we can write the same thing as MSG plus equals to. Okay. So only if the location is present, I want to append saying that location is location something. Okay. And let's see now how it is working. So for able tutor, we will be having all the details like email is there, department is there, and the location is also there. But for Abraham Lincoln, there are only email is there. So there is department and location is not. So those are empty. So that's why I don't want to show those. Okay. If you see department is empty here, and you can check in the XML if there is location or not. Okay. So the location is also empty. That's why we are not getting the values. Okay. Is there any doubts in this particular code?
Yes, Sunil.
Yeah.
So now is that we are executing the script whenever we are changing the value of assign to, right? So if I want the same script to be executed on the load also, like what I mean is that if there is already a assign to value, and if we are loading the form, then the field message should show, and also when the assign to value is also changing, like what should I do?
So generally, if you want an unload, we can write, we can get the value from server side script and then we can show it. But if you want to call this particular function even on unload, then what we can do, like if you see here, this particular client script, we can even run this even on whenever if this particular like here you can see is loading, right? So is
Okay.
loading means like if it is in the loading, if it is loading, then we want to return it. So in those cases, we can remove this particular statement and check like if it is working or not. Okay. So like if it is loading, I am not executing anything. Okay.
Okay.
So but I want to run even if it is loading. Okay. Then in that case, what I can do, I can copy the same code and I can paste there, or otherwise I can make use of this same. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just remove that. I'll just comment all the code. Okay. So that it will be loading even, it will be running only even if it is loading. Okay. Let me save it and check.
Okay.
If it doesn't work, we will check. Okay. So even on load, we are getting the value. That means even the form load, that particular client script is running.
Okay. So it's just that we need to come in the new value empty and is loading condition.
So like we don't have any assigned to, so that's why we are getting email is identified. So we can add a condition that it should not be empty like that. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just remove this is loading here
Okay.
so that it is empty. It shouldn't run. Okay. Then here there is no window. So if you see, we are getting the value even to load the form. Why? Because we have removed that is loading, because even on the load of the form, we want the values, right? So we can just remove that is loading part.
Okay, Sunil.
So actually, ServiceNow has, like if you want if you want to pass multiple values, ServiceNow has provided some other method. Like here, if you see, we are getting the attribute from answer, right? Okay, so even you can create some things like some objects inside that. I'll show you. So there will be documentation. I generally use this like because I feel this is easier way to write the code. But so whenever you want return multiple values, okay. So if you want to return multiple values in the scripting code, what you can do? So here we are we are creating a new item. For example, here the new item is result. Okay. So here we are creating a new item in the XML. So new item means new element. Okay. So in that element, like it's like a like in the XML we will be seeing the fields, right? The same way here in the XML we are creating a result named one item. So in that we are setting the attribute result dot set attribute. These are the values for message attribute. The value is returning all favorites like that. Okay. and here they are calling the internal function add favorite. Okay, what this is doing, this is creating one more item called favorite. Okay, and for each of the item, the name is color and the value is blue. Okay, so like that, it is adding the attributes. Okay, so and whenever you are getting the values, how you should get is, so you have to use get elements by tag name. Like in the XML, once you get the response in the XML, you have to use response XML get element by tag name, the tag name whichever you have used. So in that, in order to get the values of each, you can use for loop and you can use get attribute. Okay, in this way as well, you can get those values. Okay, so you can check it out. So I feel this particular method is easier, but you can even use that particular set item and get item, set attribute and get attribute like that. Okay.
Sunil, I have a doubt. Maybe you have already explained. I missed it.
Yeah.
Can you explain me a bit about the answer? Like what is res dot response xml dot document element? Like from where we are getting that?
So generally, in order to call from like scripting to like whenever we want to communicate between client side to server side in any web page or in service now, the values will be going as part of XML. Okay, so one
Okay.
XML file will be sent. Okay,
Okay.
in order to like, so all those I am getting as a response. So everything in service now is XML. So here as well we are using a XML. So in that XML we have response XML as one tag. In that document element is one more tag. Our document element is one more element. So in that we are getting the attribute which is answer. Okay.
Mm.
So the file how it looks like, it will be similar to, so the file whichever we get, which will be looking similar to this XML. Okay. So here if you see, so here if you see, it is also XML. So if you want the values, we'll be dot working, right? So
Okay.
similarly, there as well we will be getting those tags. Okay.
Okay.
So in that will be, so if you use a new item and like whichever I showed just now, right? So it will be creating new items altogether. Okay. So
Okay.
want what is exactly coming? Okay, you can just put an alert here, but it won't be able to show the XML for you for now. So I'll just show an alert and then you can see. Okay. So for now, I can use console.log of this particular response, whatever we are getting. Okay.
Okay.
So if you see here, XML HTTP request. if you this XML HTTP request is an normal Ajax request. Okay. So
Okay.
you see if you type Ajax, okay, so it is asynchronous JavaScript and XML, which it is the use of XML HTTP request object to communicate with servers. Okay, it can send and receive the data in various formats, including JSON, XML, HTML. But by default, we are using XML format.
Okay.
Okay, in service now. So if you see here in this particular XML HTTP request, you can see there is a response. Okay, so in this we are getting. So if you just see this response,
Yeah, we have response XML also document
yeah,
below.
you can see this answer in that we have location, all this,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Okay, so like that, the values will be sent here. Okay, you can just dot work in this response
Okay.
XML, right? So it will automatically like take those values. Okay.
Okay. Okay, Sunil. Thank you.
Okay. So we have learned how to send the multiple values. So let's just jump to the on submit client script. Okay. So the on submit client script we will be using whenever we want to do some validations. Okay. For example, so whenever you save the form, I want to validate something which is entered on this particular form, or to check whether some value is correct or not. Okay. So let's validate the short description. Okay. So generally, how the requirement will be, like if there is an incident with some user. For example, there is one incident which user has already raised in last 1 week. Okay, with the same short description, or with the same short description, we shouldn't be able to, like, we should not allow that user to create one more incident. Okay, so for that we have to do some validation in the server side, and then we shouldn't allow that particular user to submit the same incident. Okay. So for example, I have created an incident yesterday itself. Okay, on the same email, like I have the same issue of email. Like even if it is resolved, I want to create one more incident. So if you don't want to allow that, so then you have to restrict the submission of the page. Okay, you don't want to go this particular incident to the server or the database. You have to restrict at the client side itself. Okay, it shouldn't go till the database. So you have to do everything here itself, like in the client script. Okay, even you can write a before business rule, but even you can write a client script as well. Okay. The on submit client script. So for example, if you know there is an outage or something like as of now, I'll just demonstrate you like how this particular on submit client script will work. For example, we don't want the combination between like, for example, for the software, take any example. Okay, in the software, if it is email, I don't want that particular incident to get submitted. Let's take that is a requirement for now. We'll see how we can restrict. Okay, so first we need to get the value of what is the category and what is the subcategory in order to check whether it is software and email, right? So first let's get category. G underscore form dot get value of category and subcategory. So I want to check if the category is software and subcategory is email. I don't want this particular incident to update or submit or save. Okay, then in that case we can return false. Okay, if you return false, then return false, then this particular incident won't be submitted or saved. Okay, as of now I have selected category as software and subcategory as email. Let me just reload it so that client script will get loaded here as well. So if it is software and if it is email, but try to save it. Is it got saved? Yes, I guess. Okay. It got saved. Let me check. Did I correct or not? Okay. Category, subcategory, software, email. Category is subcategory is without underscore there is subcategory. So we should change the field name here. Okay. Let's check now. Let me change it to operating system and then let me change it to email later. So now if I try to change it to email, it shouldn't allow me. Let's check. So it is not allowing the updation or submission. Okay. If you see, it is not, form is not saving. But with that, even we should write some error message so that it will be bit clear. Okay. What is the error message we should write? G underscore form dot add error message software and email combination is not allowed. Okay. So this is the error message which we want to solve. So as of now, the form is not getting saved, but like if you refresh, the values will be like whatever those are before, those will be coming. So for example, if I try to change it to email and if I say software and email combination not allowed, okay, even if I try to update, okay, it won't update, okay, or it won't save, okay. Even if you try to click any of the like buttons, it won't allow you because like any updation it won't allow because we are returning false here. Okay. Okay. So here it is simple based on the client values itself. We are validating and we are returning false. Okay. But in most of the cases, what happens? We have to check the server side data to validate with client side. For example, if the short description is same with the same user, we don't want allow that particular incident to get submit. For example, let's take this example. Okay. So in this case, what we have to do, we have to get the value from the server side script. Okay. So first, let's write an Ajax code here. So for example, we don't want short description to be matches. So in order to get short description, g underscore form dot get value of short description. So here, if the short description is matches or contains that, or like if it is matches, I don't want, right? So I want to send the short description to the server side in order to check if it is matching with any of the open incidents. Okay. So for example, what is the code which I need to write in order to do all this? I can write GlideAjax. Okay. So in this GlideAjax, I want to pass short description. So I am passing short description. And the method which I want to use is check duplicate is a function name. Okay. And here I want to call a function pass response. Okay. This is the function name. So let's write that. Let me check first. I'm able to get these values or not. Okay. So now I have to create a function which is check duplicate and get the value of short description. So here I need to get the short description first. So how will be getting the short description? gs dot get parameter and pass the same parameter whichever we have passed here. Okay. So once we get the short description, if it is not empty, then I want to use glide record and get the values. Okay. So here what I'll do, I'll be gliding the incident. So I'll be checking for the duplicates in the incident. How I will be checking? So is it matching with any existing record which is active with the same user? So if you want the user, you can directly get the user using gs.getUserID. So here incident.add active query, because we want to check with only active records. And one more thing is add query to caller ID as well with the same user. Okay, with the same user means the currently logged in user. gs dot get user ID will be returning the current logged in sysID. So I'm matching with the caller ID. So this particular gs dot get user ID is out of the box function in order to get the sysID of logged in user, which I am checking with the caller ID. Okay. So one more thing which I want to check is add query short description also should match. If it has the same record, okay, if it has means I want to return true or false. Based on that, there I can either allow to submit or not allowed to submit. Okay. So as of now, I want to return it false. Okay. Otherwise, I want to return true. So is there any doubts in this particular code? Any doubts? Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm gliding the incident with only I'm considering the active records, and the caller ID should be the same as logged in user. Like for example, I am requesting, so it should match with the system administrator because my user ID is system administrator, and the short description should also match. If it is matches, then I'm returning false. Okay. So here I have to parse it. First, let's check it. At least we are able to get some alert or something. Right? Okay. So one more thing, we don't want to check this particular on submit client script every time. So I want to check only for the new records, because only new records, like generally on submit client script will be running even if you save the form. Okay. So if you want to check only for the new records, then you can use like g underscore form dot is new record. Okay. If it is new record, then only if you want to check, then you can use g underscore form dot is new record. Okay. If it is a new record, then only if you want to check, then you can use this particular code. If it is new record, then only if you want to check. Okay. You can write this particular function outside. Let's check we are able to get any or not first. Okay. So first we have to have a duplicate record in order to execute it. Okay. And it should be new record. Okay. For example, let me change this particular caller ID to system administrator. There is no system administrator. Okay. There might be any filters applied. That's why it's not coming. It's showing 143 records itself. What is the filter? Let me check. There is no reference qualifier condition. But it's dependent on company. So we can check with any other user as well, but let's stick to, for example, Joe employee is a user. Okay. So this is the short description. Okay. And as a Joe employee, I want to create one more incident. So let me impersonate the Joe employee. He tries to create. So it's another view actually. So what we wanted to do is, where is our, so I want an alert, but here from catalog item we are opening, and if we try to check for this particular incident, it says record is not found. Maybe because it didn't allow to create. Let's check whether any incident got created or not first. It is updated record. maybe because of there is a data policy exception, it didn't allow to create an incident. Let me remove that particular data policy. So before that, so I'll continue this class tomorrow. Anyway, because in this, I just wanted to show that we can't like if you directly use asynchronous method, it won't run. We have to use synchronous method. That I'll tell you tomorrow why it doesn't work and all. Okay. So that's it for today's class. We'll continue this tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.